Hello everyone, and welcome to my Fear of Flying video series. Flying is one of the safest ways to travel, but for those who don't understand how planes work, it can also be one of the most intimidating. In this series, I'm going to break down some of the science, sounds, and procedures behind every flight to help ease some of those common worries. Today, we're diving into the basics of aviation science. In this episode, we'll explore the science of flight, a critical foundation to understanding what keeps planes in the air. We'll talk about the four fundamental forces, the principles of aerodynamics, and the control surfaces that allow pilots to navigate safely. So let's get started. Episode Breakdown. Science of Flight. In Episode 1, we're covering the basics of what makes flight possible, starting with the four key forces acting on an aircraft: thrust, drag, lift, and weight. Understanding turbulence. Episode 2 will delve into turbulence, explaining what it is, the different types of turbulence, and what pilots and passengers can do to stay calm and safe. Aircraft design. Episode 3 will look at safety design features found in all major parts of an aircraft, designs that make flying one of the safest modes of travel. Strange sounds on planes. In Episode 4, we'll demystify some of the sounds passengers often hear, explaining why these noises occur and why they're normal. Adverse weather. Our final episode will explore how pilots, aircraft, and ground crews work together to manage adverse weather conditions, ensuring safe travel. Part 1. Introduction to the Science of Flight. One of the most common fears of flying, which affects over 40% of the population, is simply not understanding how planes stay in the air. This is especially understandable when you consider the size and weight of passenger jets. To understand how planes fly, we need to look at the four main forces acting on them. 1. The four forces of flight. The four essential forces that affect an aircraft in flight are thrust, drag, lift, and weight. In straight and level flight, these forces are in balance. Lift is generated by the wings, which are designed with a special shape known as an aerofoil. An aerofoil is curved on top and flatter on the bottom, creating a pressure difference. According to Bernoulli's principle, air moving faster over the top of the wing creates lower pressure, which results in lift. Bernoulli, a Swiss mathematician and physicist, developed this principle, which underpins how lift is generated in many modern aircraft. Weight is the downward force caused by gravity acting on the aircraft. For an aircraft to ascend, lift must exceed weight. When weight and lift are balanced, the aircraft maintains steady, level flight. Thrust is the forward force generated by the engines. It propels the plane forward by utilizing Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. When the engines push exhaust gases backward, the reaction propels the aircraft forward. Drag is the resistance the aircraft experiences as it moves through the air. It acts opposite to thrust, which means the engines must constantly generate enough thrust to overcome drag. Parasite drag occurs due to resistance from surfaces on the plane's exterior. It includes skin friction drag, which arises from rough or protruding areas like rivets or peeling paint. Form drag, which is caused by non-streamlined fairings, increases air resistance. Induced drag is related to lift generation. It is produced by wingtip vortices, which occur as high-pressure air under the wing flows to the low-pressure air above it, creating a swirling effect at the wingtip. Induced drag increases as lift increases. Induced turbulence is mitigated by certain types of wing designs. The first kind of design is a washout, which is a progressive reduction in the angle of attack in a wing. The second kind, a tapered wing, is a wing that gets thinner as it comes away from an aircraft. The third and final design, modified wing tips, such as Airbus Sharklets. Reduce wingtip vortices by reducing the strength of air pressure at the tips of the wings. This results in weaker vortices. Part 2. Control surfaces and how they work. Control surfaces allow pilots to guide and stabilize the aircraft throughout the flight. The four main control surfaces that all aircraft rely on are the ailerons, elevators, rudder, and flaps. Ailerons are located on the outer edge of each wing and control the roll axis. By adjusting these surfaces, pilots can roll the plane to the left or right, helping with turns. Elevators are found on the tail and control the pitch axis, allowing the plane's nose to move up or down. This controls climbing and descending. Rudder is located on the tail's vertical stabilizer and manages the yaw axis, which turns the aircraft left or right along its vertical axis. Flaps are found on the inner portion of the wings, close to the fuselage. They are extended during takeoff and landing to increase lift and drag, allowing the plane to fly at lower speeds safely. This is especially helpful for smoother landings and takeoffs. Thank you for watching episode 1 of the Fear of Flying series. Understanding these concepts is just the beginning. Next time, we'll dive into turbulence, what it is, the types, and how everyone on board can handle it safely. I hope this overview of aviation science has been helpful. See you in episode 2.